please state your name and your date of birth?
My name is Mickey Gallagher, and I was born October 9th, 1954.
Okay, so Mickey, when did you first come to Venice?
Well, I first came to Venice that I remember, based on my parents' information, was 1956, and I came from Portland, Maine.
And how old were you?
I was 2 years old, and my father used to work at the power company, and back then it was the, climbing power poles and stuff, and he saw a couple of his good friends perish, and he said, I got to get out of here if I'm going to raise a family. So my sister, myself, and mom and dad moved out here in 1956. I remember on my being able to ride my three-wheel bike down to the end of the street. Sunset is right on the corner, Sunset Avenue is between where Rose Avenue is now, because Rose Avenue never used to go through, to Lincoln, right by the Fox Theater and the old Hughes Market, which is now Smart and Final. But it was always safe. I could always drive my bike down to Lincoln Boulevard and go to the liquor store and get candy, play in the vacant lots. That's long before Penmar Golf Course was there. There was no houses across the street from my house. It was an open storm drain, which is the current storm drain that empties out here Navy Street, or Rose Avenue. And we would play freely in the big lot before the golf course, that from the front of my parents' house all the way to Marine Street, which is in Santa Monica, was all vacant land. All open fields and mud, slough. We'd play in there and build forts and look for little trinkets because the Army Reserve, which is up at Santa Monica Airport, used to practice in there and had play Army in there. So we always look for finding little trinkets and run back and forth in the street and roller skate and bike. I went to Walgrove Elementary School and then just down the street to Mark Twain Junior High. Walgrove was pretty much a white elementary school, and so I grew up around that type of environment. Although I played sports, Pop Warner football, and so that's where my culture got in, and
More diverse?
very, very much diverse. In fact, I was a minority when I played Pop Warner football at the Venice Athletic Club. We played for 6 years Pop Warner football and then 2 years high school football. So Walgrove was no problems, elementary school. When I moved to Mark Twain, that was a big culture shock for me because it was extremely diverse. It was Hispanic and Black and Asian. It was all over the map. And so I remember my first year there, getting harassed in the bathroom and scared, not really know what to do, but all my buddies we all played football together. So we all kind of hung together, and we soon got out over that, the intimidation. And I think it was more of a culture shock for me to see other cultures in a different environment than sports. My mom and dad both taught me to treat people the way they were to be treated, but I never was exposed to, other than sports, to other cultures, other ethnic backgrounds. Mainly African American was all my buddies playing Pop Warner football, and so I wasn't really. There wasn't a whole lot of Hispanics, so it was a new culture for me. There wasn't a lot of Asian folks, so that was a new culture for me. So when I went into junior high and saw people that looked a little different than I did. So Venice High School it was great because I just carried on that same, all my athletic friends in Venice High School. So I played when I went right into playing B football, and then I was I never swam competitively till I was in high school. And so somebody said, why don't you know how to swim, why don't you try out for the swim team? So I did, and I just excelled in swimming. At Venice High School, football season is one part of the year, and then next part of the year I go, okay, we're not playing football, and I'm not a basketball, baseball player that make the team or anything, so I'll try out for swimming. So I tried out for swimming, and at the end of it, and that was the only person that could, fairly swim pretty good, naturally. And that first year, I broke the school record in the C division, the 200-yard freestyle. I go, wow, that's pretty cool. So then I really got into it my second year, and then really got into it my third year high school. And then I went to SMC for 2 years, swam there, and then I got a swimming scholarship to San Diego State as a backstroker. back into high school, my high school swim coach was a lifeguard for LA City Lifeguards down here in Venice. And Daryl Willie, everybody knows Daryl. He's almost 90 right now. He lives down in San Diego. Daryl says, you ought to take the lifeguard test. I wasn't 18 yet when I graduated from college or high school. I was only 17. And that was the first year that LA City opened up the exam to younger people of 17 years old or older. And my birthday was in October, and I took the test in March. And so I was still 17 years old. It was one of the first 17-year-olds, this experimental project they did. And we'd come down every morning before swim workout and practice in the ocean at 6 o'clock in the morning from Brooks Avenue south around the outside of the Venice breakwater and then into the Avenue 23 rocks where the lifeguard headquarters is right now, the Venice big octagon. And practice every morning. We'd put Vaseline underneath our arms and in our crotch and everything else to keep warm, back of our head. So we'd practice and practice and practice, and I took the exam in I think it's March, sometime in March of 1972, and got on and worked at Venice Beach and as a recurrent lifeguard, seasonal or as needed employee.
So you started when you were
17. And then I went to worked, as much as I could. Went to San Diego State. Continued to drive back up here on the weekends and work on the weekends. And then they offered a permanent exam test in 1976, and I got on June 1st, 1976, and been permanent my entire career and retired in 2014. It was a fun place to work. It was challenging because you had everything from A to Z happen. Every day you'd come to work, you wouldn't know what to expect and what you're going to deal with. Nothing was routine. Never was routine. It was always, every day was different. I'd get up in the morning and get my coffee and go down to work when I was the Venice captain, and I couldn't wait to get to work. In fact, when I got there, I didn't want to leave because it was always something. We get a radio call for one thing or another, and it was always something new, whether it's a water rescue or some guy chasing somebody on the beach or a robbery on the beach, and we didn't have any protection other than your hands and your feet. You could run fast and swim fast. It was exciting when the surf was up because you're going to make a lot of water rescues, and then you'd kind of ignore all the other stuff that goes on the beach and focus in on the water because that was our number one priority. That was beach safety, beach and water safety. Water was number one, and then as long as you got the water covered, you could deal with all these other things. Excuse me, sir, we don't allow dogs on the beach. Or excuse me, ma'am, you have to put your top back on your beach. Or if you're a people watcher, you come down to Venice and you'll be blown away you'll see there's nothing you won't see. In fact, people from the relatives and stuff that come out and visit and they want to go to Venice Beach. That's the first thing they say. Want to go to Venice Beach? Want to go on the boardwalk? And I say where we should go and where we shouldn't go and where we can park and where we shouldn't park and all those things. And then we walk a promenade and walk the oceanfront walk there and look at the street performers. I can go down and watch the surf, go jump out walk out on the pier and look at the surf breaking and see something that I can look out that people 200 years ago probably saw the same thing other than a sailboat or something going by. But I can go to the shoreline and look out there and see the same visualize the same thing that people saw 200 years ago, 300 years ago.